Welcome back to Tipping Point. I'm your host, Kara McKinney. More protests have rocked the nation's capital in support of the Palestinian movement, so it'd be a good idea to expand on last week's conversation with a national security expert about how many of these protests are funded by terror-linked activist groups. It's like a reverse CIA operation, but instead of our Fetty boys infiltrating and funding subversive movements abroad to achieve specific political aims, it's global bad actors. They're doing it here to us right here at home. It's kind of spooky, right? Almost as spooky as the fact that the U.S. Army just released a new recruitment ad featuring only white men, the demographic that traditionally fights and dies in the military disproportionately higher rates than anyone else.
Stand up! All reach your hands.
I jokingly say spooky because you know what that means. We're going to war. Or at least the military thinks it's possible enough to start mobilizing in that direction. It's not the women in the Rainbow Mafia types who are going to be fighting and dying in large numbers on the front lines, despite all the social engineering and other rhetoric that they've been throwing at us. Anyway, joining us now to discuss his new piece, which will be out at Newsmax, is national security researcher John Rosamondo. John, thanks for being here tonight. So you and I briefly touched on this last week, and now you have a new piece out about it. So lay out for us the terrorist Islamist influences that you're seeing in this latest round of protests at the White House.
Well, if you look at the names of the groups that sponsored this protest, the attempted storming of the White House, I mean, you saw all of those Palestinian pro-Hamas demonstrators trying to break down the gate. I mean, if you look at one of the major lead groups, it's called the U.S. Campaign for Palestinian Rights, you'll see that it has openly supported the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine on social media, and its leadership has also done so. The USCPR's was the leading person of the. Sorry about that. The USCPR was one of the leading groups of the BDS movement, and if you look at the BDS movement, it's a movement that aims to isolate Israel. It's all full of terrorist organizations like Hamas, the PFLP. Fatah, and then so the other groups that were involved were groups like Al-Auda, which openly calls for the release of the PFLP's leader Ahmed Sadat, and the Feminist Collective is another one that's PFLP. So it's all a bunch of terrorist organizations.
That it is, and I'm glad, like I was saying in your piece, you were very meticulous in going through, name by name, all these different organizations, because, someone like me, I'd see these names on the posters and the rest, and I don't know who they are. And like you said, when you start to trace back the genealogy, I guess, of some of these groups and who they're connected to and what they want, it is definitely quite eye-opening. So, for viewers who go out and check out your article, what do you really hope that they take away from what you're trying to get across?
Well, I hope that they get across that these are terrorist front groups. I mean, the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine came out and supported the slaughter of those 1,400 people. So when you see these people now coming out and condemning that, no, they support it. And I think I want the people who read my article to realize that this is not just an organized, group of, concerned Americans. It's run by hardcore terrorist agitators.
And so, of course, when it comes to the State Department, the CIA, the DOJ, the FBI, all these different, agencies that we have that are supposed to be protecting us, I know we have the ideological capture. It's something we talk about a lot. But are these groups, are these agencies, are they paying enough attention to these groups, who they're linked to, who's funding them, what they want? Or do you think that they're turning too much of a blind eye for ideological reasons?